What if a ragtag army of farmers, blacksmiths, and shopkeepers challenged the world's most powerful empire and won? This is the unbelievable story of the American Revolution. In the winter of 1773, the American colonies stood at a crossroads. For years, the British Crown had tightened its grip, imposing taxes without representation, quartering soldiers in colonial homes, and treating free men as subjects to be controlled. The people had endured enough. In Boston Harbor, an act of defiance was about to ignite a revolution that would change the world forever. On December 16, 1773, the Sons of Liberty executed their bold plan. Disguised as Mohawk warriors, over 100 colonists boarded 3 British ships. They weren't there to negotiate. They weren't there to protest peacefully. They were there to send a message that would echo across the Atlantic. 342 chests of British tea, worth nearly $2 million in today's money, were thrown into Boston Harbor. The point of no return had been crossed. The British response was swift and merciless. Parliament passed the Coercive Acts, which colonists called the Intolerable Acts. Boston Harbor was closed until the destroyed tea was paid for. Town meetings were banned. The Massachusetts government was brought under direct British control. After this, General Thomas Gage arrived with 4 regiments of troops. What was meant to punish and intimidate only unified the colonies in their resistance. April 19, 1775. Paul Revere's midnight ride had warned the countryside. The British were coming to seize colonial weapons at Concord. At dawn, on Lexington Green, 77 colonial militiamen faced 700 British regulars. Captain John Parker told his men, "Stand your ground. Don't fire unless fired upon. But if they mean to have a war, let it begin here." A shot rang out. History still debates who fired first. 8 colonists lay dead. The Revolutionary War had begun. News of Lexington and Concord spread like wildfire. Within days, thousands of colonial military surrounded Boston, trapping the British Army inside the city. General George Washington arrived to take command of what was now called the Continental Army. The British held the city, but they were prisoners in it. Then came Bunker Hill. "Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes," became the legendary command. The colonists proved they could stand against the world's most powerful military. For over a year, the colonies fought without declaring independence, hoping for reconciliation. But King George hired foreign mercenaries to kill his own subjects. He declared the colonies in rebellion, outside his protection. Thomas Paine's common sense crystallized colonial anger into revolutionary purpose. On July 4, 1776, in Philadelphia, the Continental Congress voted to declare independence. 56 men signed a document that made them traitors to the Crown. "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." The United States of America was born. The Declaration didn't guarantee victory, far from it. By winter 1777, Washington's army was in tatters. They retreated to Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. That winter tested their resolve like nothing before. 12,000 men camped in freezing cold with insufficient food, clothing, or shelter. 2,000 would die from cold, hunger, and disease. Blood trails marked the snow where soldiers marched without shoes. Yet they stayed. They drilled. They prepared. Valley Forge didn't break the Continental Army. It forged it into a professional fighting force. While Washington endured at Valley Forge, victory came in the north. At Saratoga in October 1777, American forces surrounded and captured an entire British army under General Burgoyne. It was the turning point. France had been watching and waiting. When news of Saratoga reached Paris, King Louis XVI made his decision. France would openly ally with the Americans, providing troops, naval power, and legitimacy. The rebellion was now a world war. Britain faced enemies across the globe. The impossible suddenly became possible. September 1781. British General Cornwallis fortified his position at Yorktown, Virginia, expecting reinforcement from the Royal Navy. But French Admiral de Grasse controlled the seas. Washington marched south with combined American and French forces. Cornwallis was trapped. 4 weeks, American and French artillery pounded British positions. On October 19, 1781, the British Army marched out in surrender. Their band played "The World Turned Upside Down." The impossible had happened. The colonies had defeated the British Empire. The revolution was won. The Treaty of Paris, signed September 3, 1783, officially ended the war. Britain recognized American independence. The impossible experiment began. Could a nation founded on the principles of liberty, equality, and representative government actually survive? The Founding Fathers created a constitution, a framework for democracy that would inspire revolutions worldwide. George Washington, who could have been king, chose to step down after 2 terms, establishing civilian rule over military power. The American Revolution wasn't just about independence from Britain. It was about the revolutionary idea that people could govern themselves, that rights came from being human, not from kings. That idea would change the world forever. If you like this type of content, do like and subscribe for more.